We are now live on Facebook. Greetings to the body of the people. This is a man called Chris Dorsey. You're tuned in to the Militia Intelligence Report. I mean, we might as well call it any number of different things every week. This week's episode is titled Keeping It Real. Hey, I see Cliff's watching. Greetings, Cliff. Cliff might not be able to call in. I see Lori, Walter Suzuki is tuned in. Greetings, Lori. Greetings, Carol. Again, tonight's episode is titled Keeping It Real. And the description is, this episode is about the reality of existence. Happy Valentine's Day, or Happy Valentine's Day. One thing I will say is, I mean, these kind of like made up holidays, like, I don't know what to say, but we're talking about tonight getting back to the roots of existence. So it's Saint Valentine's Day. So let's get right into that. So it is Saint Valentine's Day. Hey, greetings, Timothy. So let's see what we got. 'Cause it's Valentine's Day. So we're gonna get into the Valentine, and when we get some more folks tuned in tonight, I'm gonna get into what the inspiration behind the Keeping It Real title of this episode. We'll just go to Wikipedia. Not that I really trust that, but I don't know. It's better than Catholic.org. So we're getting into Saint Valentine. Saint Valentine was a widely recognized 3rd century Roman saint commemorated in Christianity on February 14th. From the High Middle Ages, his saint's day has been associated with the tradition of courtly love. Okay, so we're really going to get into this now. He is also the patron saint of epilepsy. Saint Valentine was a clergyman, either a priest or a bishop in the Roman Empire, who ministered to the persecuted Christians. Now, Christianity, like all other things in civilization, went from west to east, not from east to west. So it originated in what we now call Ireland, and it went west. So what we do know is that the Roman Church and the Continental Church was put in place, and Christianity was propagated by the Irish missionaries, such as Columba. We got that. So yeah, let's get into some courtly love, and let's talk about the reality of what the term chivalry means, what courtly love means, and we'll get back to the Countess of Champagne for that. So I certainly did not have this plan, but hey, this is an area of great interest to me, and so for some reason that's where this show's going. We're going to the rules of courtly love, the Countess of Champagne, courtly love. I first started studying this courtly love. Well, I mean, I guess in a way it is in my blood, because these are all ancestors of mine. When discussing any of the most prominent of the royalty of Europe, and then before that of the Levant, um, because of the fact that the Egyptians, the ancient Egyptian pharaonic line, are the same bloodline as Western Europeans of today, and especially the native Irish, or the Irish, um, that came over to Ireland from the Iberian Peninsula, and before that from Greece. Um, so that's the basis, and that's the high level, the High Kings of Ireland. The bloodlines of the High Kings of Ireland are the higher kings over all the other kings of Europe, although we all share a identical bloodline. So let's get into um, courtly love, and get into how the Count and Countess of Champagne fit into that. Um, Courtly love was a medieval European literary conception of love that emphasized nobility and chivalry. So this is wrong, 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 wrong to begin with. It's not a literary conception. It's a rule of engagement. So that's incorrect right off the bat with Wikipedia. But we can read between the lines. Medieval literature is filled with examples of knights setting out on adventures and performing various deeds or services for ladies of their courtly love. And so that, again, they're just acting as if this is a, some sort of literary device. So incorrect. This kind of love is originally a literary fiction, again incorrect, created for the entertainment of the nobility. No, that's not true. But as time passed by, these ideas about love changed and attracted a larger audience. In the High Middle Ages, a game of love, in quotes, developed around these ideas as a set of social practices. Loving nobly was considered to be enriching and improving practice. So again, they're pretending that all this is a literary device. I mean, this is what the bloodline of the Synagogue of Satan does. And so since we went from Valentine's Day to where are we getting these concepts? What does the basis of the United States? If love makes the world go round, this is our ancestors' ideas of courtly love. And I'm speaking for myself when I say myself and anyone else of my peerage. Courtly love began in the ducal and princely courts of Aquitaine, Provence, Champagne, ducal Burgundy, and the Norman kingdom of Sicily. So, okay, here we go. Where are we going to get into the Countess of Champagne? If they don't begin and end with this, okay, here we go. The practice of courtly love developed in the castle life of four regions: Aquitaine, Provence, Champagne, and the ducal Burgundy, from around the time of the First Crusade, which would be 1099. Eleanor of Aquitaine brought ideals of courtly love from Aquitaine to the court of France, then to England. She became the queen consort in each of these two realms in succession. Her daughter, Marie, Countess of Champagne, so this is brought courtly behavior to the Count of Champagne. So this is what we were talking about before we got to this Wikipedia. Courtly love found expression in the lyric poems written by troubadours such as William IX, Duke of Aquitaine, 1071 to 1126, one of the first troubadour poets. So Great. I thank you so much. I thank you so much, Lori, for bringing that up. So happy Valentine's Day, Lori. Happy Valentine's Day to everyone else. This just gets to my point that everything in this society is just a perversion of what its intention is supposed to be. So let's get into, if we can find the rules of courtly love, because that is the most important thing uh, of courtly love. Yeah, we're gonna get into all the Wuhan fever and the criminal actions of the government uh, in a little bit, but uh, this is gonna be after we get into the keeping it real lecture, the lecture about keeping it real and uh, competent thinking, and also standing, like how anybody has any standing to say or do anything. Courtney Love, yeah. At some point, segue into Courtney Love and the Epstein child rape ring, but this is going to be good episode. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, funny. Courtney Love, an ethnic Khazarian Synagogue of Satan member. So here we go. So we're getting into the rules of courtly love. I hope, or okay, here we go. We do. Okay. De Arta Ona Amandi, The Art of Courtly Love, Book 2 on the Rules of Love. The Art of Courtly Love was written by Andreas Capellanus, Andre the Chaplain, at the request of Countess Marie of Troyes, daughter of Eleanor of Aquitaine. It is believed to describe Queen Eleanor's court of Poitiers, but was probably written several years after that. Apologize for my poor French pronunciation. The Art of Courtly Love was written in Latin, although once thought to be a serious instructional book. Many now think it was created in a satirical vein. Really, I don't. However, it still demonstrates the popularity of these ideals in courtly love. So how is it? Okay. So, okay, there we go. Eleanor's real life was much like these types of romances. As Duchess of Aquitaine, she married Louis, the King of France, when she was young, and later Henry II, before he became King of England. When her marriage to Henry became strained, she and her daughter Marie created a court where liberal and literary ideas were discussed, and where troubadours and artists made music and other kinds of entertainment. Eleanor and Marie created a set of manners. This is the Valentine's Day issue, in case you're wondering where we got off to this. But I had planned on including this in my upcoming book titled. Well, I'm not going to tell you what the title is, but in any event, it is a epic title. They held courts of love where they would test the behavior of lovers to see if they held up to the standards set in Capellanus writing. And so that's Capellanus is Andre the Chaplain, Andreas Capellanus. Strong-minded Marie and Eleanor believed that two men should have love in their lives and not merely, believe that women should have love in their lives and not merely settle for the marriages of convenience that were typical at the time. These ideas have certainly influenced the concept of romance throughout the years. Read the excerpt below from Capellanus' book, The Art of Courtly Love. Do you agree that the rules he claims are true? Discuss as a class. I guess this is some sort of teaching device. De arta anas amandi. So again, I apologize. The Art of Courtly Love, Book 2 on the Rules of Love. Marriage is no real excuse for not loving. He who is not jealous cannot love. No one can be bound by a double life. It is well known that love is always increasing or decreasing. That's pretty funny. That which a lover takes against his will of his beloved has no relish. Boys do not love until they arrive at the age of maturity. When one lover dies, a widowhood of 2 years is required of the survivor. No one should be deprived of love without the very best of reasons. No one can love unless he is impelled by the persuasion of love. Love is always stronger in the home of avarice. It is not proper to love any woman whom one should be ashamed to seek to marry. A true lover does not desire to embrace in love anyone except his beloved. When made public, love rarely endures. The easy attachment of love makes it of little value. Difficult of attainment makes it prized. Every lover regularly turns pale in the presence of his beloved. When a lover suddenly catches sight of his beloved, his heart palpitates. A new love puts to flight an old one. All right, and this is The Rules of Courtly Love by the Countess of Champagne, Marie d'Artois. Marie d'Artois, Countess of Champagne. A true lover, and Eleanor of Aquitaine, of course, as well. I don't know. I mean, I always thought it was Marie, Countess of Champagne, or Marie d'Artois, but evidently it's her mother as well. Where were we? A new love puts flight to... we already carried that. A good character alone makes any man worthy of love. Okay, so that's the best one. So let's leave that there. So we'll get back into... but you guys can check all this stuff out for yourselves. We talked about this before. So let's get into keeping it real. Tonight's discussion, keeping it real. And so everyone knows who's tuned in. They know what we do here. They know what I do. And many, and this information is not for the many. This information is for the few. This information is for the absolute few. And I can tell you very, very certainly, I'm putting this information out because I wish to do it not just for myself, but for myself as an act of I guess destiny would be the word. Maybe another word would be out of act of an agreement with the creator of all things. I can see what's going on. I certainly don't see everything because I'm learning something new every day, and I am certain that will happen every day for the rest of my existence in this earthly shell. That being, I will learn something new every day, and every day I will contemplate the fact that I don't know everything. However, what I do know for certain is enough. Is enough to decode this reality and state unequivocally that I reject the thoughts and ideas coming from any other place other than myself, unless it is a verified fact. So what I know is that everyone, and we got the demons coming out right now. We got the demons coming out right now while we're busy on the air. What I know beyond a shadow of a doubt is that I unequivocally reject everything to do with this corporate usury system, with this criminal authority by force, false authority that has usurped force, that has abolished all of the Constitution for the United States. It's abolished. When the entity acting as the United States government acts in complete contradiction to the United States government, which is their rules, the Constitution for the USA, then it ceases to be. We failed as a people because we did not abolish the government. However, I abolished the government. The government is abolished because I say so. And I say so because the fact that government is abolished is reality. And no one can argue with that. When the government ceases to be what its only purpose is, then it is abolished. It no longer exists. So you can call the United States government something else. You can call it even the United States government. But it's not that. You can call an orange a banana. And we can change the complete definition. And now, from now on, a banana will be an orange, and an orange will be a banana. However, it's not accurate in describing what the thing is. So they say, oh, this is the Constitution now. This is the government now. Oh, we are going to take all the guns away from the people, and we're not going to allow them to speak about anything that's true and based in reality in any sort of way. We shall call it hate speech. We shall ban it from the internet. We shall make threats and carry out acts of violence against those who tell the truth, who say what the facts are. So a good example would be the synagogue of Satan. Those who say they are Jews but are not. And it's not just us going around saying, hey, yeah, there's this part in the Bible, in the book of Revelations, it talks about the synagogue of Satan. Those who say they're Jews but are not. Oh, and it just so happens that these guys, in reality, when we're talking about keeping it real, these guys in Israel or Palestine, whichever you want to call it. I mean, it's Israel. It is. It's Jerusalem. At least. These guys are, well, they say they're Jews, but they're not. Oh, just like in the Bible. Oh, and what's going on with that? Well, hey, the thing is, the actual people of the Bible, they are the people who are in Western Europe, but not those who run those countries now. Those are the fake Jews, the synagogue of Satan, those who say they are Jews but are not. So they are imposters. They are of European descent. They are a European bloodline. They certainly are. And what I'm saying, I'm talking about the Ashkenazi. I'm even talking about the Sephardim. They are Indo-European. No doubt about it. There's absolutely no doubt about that. They, however, are not the bloodline of the biblical Levantine population, what they mischaracterize as Semites, because they don't have anything to do with any Semitic language, because it's not a Semitic language. Hebrew is the same language as ancient Irish. That's what it is. Very similar to Welsh as well, because it's the same language and it's not Semitic. Civilization started in Ireland, far west outpost, and moved from west to east. And so the tribes of Israel, they came from west first, and then they went back to their homeland afterwards. That's the biblical Exodus. Okay, hey, I see Cliff say, yeah, don't worry about it. It's good. I don't want to get locked out of the account again. But if I do, just leave it the way it is. Thanks, Cliff. So this is verified, not just one way, not just two ways, but every single way that this can possibly be verified. It's verified in documents like the Scottish Declaration of Rights. It's verified in archaeological evidence of countless numbers of items from Egypt in Ireland and Ireland in Egypt at the exact same time, which would be during the time of the Empire of Egypt, the time when the pharaohs were paramount in their power. So and above all, now we know through modern genetic testing, they're connected by blood. So let's for the millionth time now, let's get into this. King Tut. Okay, here we go. Half of European men share King Tut's DNA. And so we know when speaking about the Bible that is when it is a number of things. It's astral theology. It is sun worship. It is worship of the sun. And it is a genetic historical documenter. Let's see. Up to 70% of British men and half of all Western European men are related to the Egyptian pharaoh Tutankhamun, geneticists in Switzerland said. Scientists at Zurich-based DNA Genealogy Center, IGENEA, reconstructed the DNA profile of the boy pharaoh who ascended to the throne at the age of 9. His father Akhenaten and grandfather Amenhotep III, based on a film that was made for the Discovery Channel. The results showed that King Tut belonged to a genetic profile group known as haplogroup R1B1A2, to which more than 50% of all men in Western Europe belong, indicating that they share a common ancestor. All right. Among modern-day Egyptians, this haplogroup contingent is below 1%. So there you go. Now we're talking about Semitic, excuse me, easy for me to say, or actually difficult for me to say. We're talking about Semitic. I prefer Levantine. So we're talking about the people of God, according to the Bible. So, like, you know, hey, that's not exclusive. Like, everybody is a people of God. I'm saying the people of God according to the Bible. See, we're talking about reality because I'm keeping it real. So, other people can say, hey, we're people of God too. Yeah, you can. But according to the Bible. And what are these books, you know, what are these many books for all these, you know, these Bible, you know, folks who say they believe in the Bible, but they don't know what it contains? How many books begin? Let's find some genealogy in the Bible. Genealogy in the Bible. So I'm gonna say why I'm gonna show you why what I'm saying is valid, and it's important, because you can say, oh, that doesn't matter. I would disagree with you. I would disagree. But hey, you can say that. But as far as the Bible, what is it? Why did it spread around, you know, from Europe through Ireland, and why did it originate? Now folks will say, hey, well, it's just kind of Druidic, and they kind of amalgamated all these books, all these sacred texts, and they turned it into a Bible and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, they did. I mean, that's exactly what happened. that is exactly it. This is the history and sacred text of a certain bloodline of individuals that have and do and always will look like me, and others who share my bloodline. I'm not saying that's good. I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying that's what it is. That's what it is. Genesis. The book of Genesis records the descendants of Adam and Eve. The enumerated genealogy in chapters 4, 5, and 11 report the lineal male descent from Abraham, including the age at which each patriarch fathered his named son and the number of years he lived thereafter. The genealogy of Cain is given in chapter 4. The genealogy of Seth in chapter 5. The genealogy in chapter 10, recording the male descendants of Noah, is known as the Table of Nations. Okay, there's more. It's Adam, Eve, Cain, Abel, Seth, Enoch, Irad, Methuselah. I mean, it just goes on. It goes on. The genealogy of Jesus in the New Testament. So again, this is these are referencing, because Jesus, the representation of Jesus, that there was nobody called with the J in that language that we're talking about, and we're talking about ancient Irish language. They could call it Hebrew. Yeah, that's right. It is Hebrew. They're identical, but not Aramaic. That's not what they spoke. It's not that. It's definitely not Aramaic. Let me repeat myself again. It's definitely not Aramaic. The New Testament provides two accounts of the genealogy of Jesus. One in the Gospel of Matthew and the other in the Gospel of Luke. Matthew starts with Abraham, while Luke begins with Adam. So we will begin our genealogy for the royal bloodlines. We will begin them with Adam. But Abraham, that's good too. The lists are identical between Abraham and David, but differ radically from that point. Matthew has 27 generations from David to Joseph, whereas Luke has 42, with almost no overlap between the names on the two lists. Notably, the two accounts also disagree on who Joseph's father was. Matthew says he was Jacob, while Luke says he was Heli. Traditional Christian scholars, starting with the historian Eusebius, have put forward various theories that seek to explain why the lineages are so different, such as that Matthew's account follows the lineage of Joseph, while Luke's follows the lineage of Mary. Some modern critical scholars, like Marcus Borg, claim both genealogies as inventions to bring the messianic claims into conformity with Jewish criteria. So when we hear the word Jewish, we just replace that with the word Irish. Irish. Because that's representing the tribe of Judah. So that represents the bloodline of the Irish. That's what that does. So, but again, we've established, and here we're going to establish more, okay? Because we're going to show that the line, the Jewish, and again, when we say these words Jewish, they could be, I say Ashkenazi. So we're going to be exact, but when we looked things up, like if I were to not be concerned about being correct, but to speak in the language that the population would understand, I would say that it's the Jews. In other words, the problems of the world and the manifestation of the adversary of God on earth is the Jews. But if I were to be exact, I would say the Judeans are the Irish, and we are, or the Aryans, from the land of ancient Ireland, or the those on the continent that is west of Britain, and that they are spread out. They spread out in Europe, and they ruled the Levant region as well, but they were all around the world. The Americas, Asia. That's where all civilization stemmed. So here we go. But we're going to get into the breaking down the passage, the biblical passage, referencing the synagogue of Satan, Revelation 2:9 and 3:9. So we're breaking it down. So we know who the real Israelites are. We've established that. European. Southern European. Southern European. So now we're going to get into how the female line, because that's how it comports under quote unquote Jewish law, that Jews are Jews through the female line. So we're going to show that this female line has absolutely nothing to do with the Levant region. And so here, so I can show you, and not just read it to you, but I can show you. Surprise! Ashkenazi Jews are genetically European. So what did we just show you? We just showed you about here. So we can show you both it twice. Let's see. Half of European men share. Okay. So let's do this. Let's do this. Okay. Okay, so half of European men share King Tut's DNA. Up to 70% of British men. That's about 85 to 90% of Irish, and about 80% of Scottish. Okay, and so here we go with this. This is livescience.com. I've studied this, and it's valid, it's accurate, it's well documented. Surprise! Jews are genetically European. So again, it's the opposite of what's going on is what they tell you. So okay, you can see the difference. The difference, okay. That's what an imposter looks like. Okay, there you go. Very, very different. Very different. Similar in some ways. They have to be similar in some ways. But very different in others. So let's get into this. The origin of the Ashkenazi Jews who came most recently from Europe has largely been shrouded in mystery. But a new study suggests that that at least their maternal lineage may derive largely from Europe. Not may, there's no may about it. Though the finding may seem intuitive, it contradicts the notion that European Jews mostly descend from people who left Israel and the Middle East around 2,000 years ago. Instead, a substantial proportion of the population originates from local Europeans who converted to Judaism, said study co-author Martin Richards, an archaeogeneticist from the University of Huddersfield. So let's go. We'll get into the little is known about the history of Ashkenazi Jews before they were expelled from the Mediterranean and settled in what is now Poland around the 12th century, so around the 1100s. On average, All Ashkenazi Jews are genetically as closely related to each other as fourth or fifth cousins. So this gets into what we were saying last year. So they're all fourth or fifth cousins. Hey, right on, Cliff. Thanks. But depending on whether the lineage gets traced through maternal or paternal DNA or through the rest of the genome, researchers got very different answers for whether Ashkenazi originally came from Europe or the Near East. Let's see. Historical okay. Here we go. Let's get into maternal DNA. And then we'll get into the Khazarian thing. Okay, Richards and his colleagues analyzed mitochondrial DNA, which is contained in the cytoplasm of the egg and passed down only from the mother from more than 3,500 people throughout the Near East, the Caucasus, and Europe, including Ashkenazi Jews. The team found that 4 founders were responsible for 40% of Ashkenazi mitochondrial DNA, and that all these founders originated in Europe. The majority of the remaining people could be traced to other European lineages. All told, more than 80% of the maternal lineages of Ashkenazi Jews could be traced to Europe, with only a few originating in the Near East. So those probably are Irish that have been somehow mixing with the Southern European Eastern Jews. Oh, you mean that guy I called out as like a government agent? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what, but I really am I'm gonna get you, dude. I really am. I'm gonna get you, man. You are okay. Let's see what we're gonna do here. And we're gonna delete that comment. I'm gonna get you, dude. Man, you're crazy. You're a crazy dude. Let's see. Virtually none came from the North Caucasus, located along the border between Europe and Asia, and the Black and Caspian Seas. So I do want to address something that came out. I don't know anything about most of the individuals that interview me, but I don't know who Richard is, but I do know that I went on some show and basically called these guys like total pieces of garbage and total pieces of crap. So if this guy Duncan Wiki, whose real name, I mean, I don't know what his real name, we have him on camera. And he defends child rapists and FBI agents. So Duncan Wiki, you are a child rapist. You are all these things that you accuse me of going on some show with some guy who defends them. That's what you actually are, dude. Try to refute it, buddy. You're crazy. You're absolutely out of your mind, dude. You're crazy, man. All right, I'm going to show this guy's face. I'm going to see if I can find this guy's face. But instead, we're just going to keep going. Because, like, these demons, they all come out. I see these renegade radio demons. Now, those guys, when the law is enforced, Kyle Hunt will be hanging from a tree, and his wife, whatever, I mean, I guess electric chair, I guess, is the precedent for treasonous women. So we handled that. But I see all these degenerates out there. I see you. I mean, you show yourself. So look up Mary Catherine Barton and Chris Dorsey, and you'll see what's going on. That's Kyle Hunt and Sinead McCarthy's FBI handler. So there you go. And you know what they did? They even hid her identity and had her on the network using a fake name. So I'm not to be played with in any sort of way. Or maybe I am. Try it and see. Try it and see. Okay, so let's get back to this imposter Jews. So that's another thing that this guy is taught, because I'm talking about ethnic Jews. Kyle Hunt is an ethnic Jew. Sinead McCarthy is the character who plays Sinead McCarthy is an ethnic Jew. So here we go. Since we're talking about Jewish women, the finding should thoroughly debunk one of the most questionable but still tenacious hypothesis that this is not true, because here's where they're flipping things around. They say that this can discount the Khazar theory, but it's the male line where the Khazars come from. So they're acting like, oh yeah, the men are from the Near East, but all the women, they're from Southern Europe. No. The Jews are a connection, a coming together of this Southern European bloodline from Greece, Italy, not the same bloodline as females necessarily of all in Greece and Italy. And then the male line, that's where the women come from. The male line is the Khazar line. But it is funny that they tried to obfuscate it like that. Let's see. And this is from a reassessment of the Jewish DNA evidence. The focus of the present study is to analyze and reassess results obtained by DNA researchers and synthesize them into a coherent picture of Jewish genetics, interweaving historical evidence in order to obtain a more accurate depiction of complex genetics history of this group. Many of the DNA studies on Ashkenazim fail to adequately address the complexity of the genetic evidence, in particular, the significant genetic contribution of European and Central Asian peoples in the makeup of contemporary Ashkenazi population. One important contribution to Ashkenazi DNA appears to have originated with the Khazars, an ancient people of probable Central Asian stock that lived in southern Russia during the 8th through the 12th centuries CE. So there we go. There you have it. Case closed. That's it. That's the only thing. We have reality. who are really the people of God, according to the Bible. Who are the people of the Bible? We know that as the Western Europeans. We have that archaeological evidence. We have the biological evidence. And we have the historical evidence. Who are definitely not a mix between Southern Europeans and Khazars. The female line comes from Southern Europe, and the male line comes from southern Russia, the Central Asia. So Turkic Khazars and Southern European. That is the combination. The bloodline of the true royalty originates in Ireland, lives in Ireland and throughout Europe and around the world during the biblical times, especially concentrated in the Levant region, Israel, Egypt, Syria. And then exodus out and spread out through Europe, with the highest concentrations in the Irish Isles, especially modern-day Ireland. So that's reality for you. That's it. And so I'll give you something that I wish to say, because I don't care what anybody else thinks. Unless they are smarter than me and they have information that I can garner from them. Other than that, I don't care what anybody else's opinion is. And I can guarantee you that everybody, 99.9% of the YouTube channels, 99.9% of anyone who has at least a quarter of the following that I do that pontificates on important issues, they are government agents working for the government. And you got to be a dum-dum not to see this. And if they're not aware they're working for the government, they're just spouting out government obfuscation purely by accident. But that's very rare. And I can tell you this from experience. Nobody's going to be telling the truth about anything and getting 200,000 YouTube followers. It's just not going to happen. Nobody's going to tell the truth about any of this stuff without getting harassed by the Secret Service, without having hitmen for the Mossad come after them, not have these freaking wastes of oxygen just do nothing but post nonsense on all their social media. You see, if that doesn't happen, they're in on it. And they're in on it just because that's the way the system works. The best way to control the opposition is to lead it ourselves. That's what these Jews are doing on the internet. And again, I don't care what the masses think. The masses will never be awake. God made it that way. The masses are the sheep. They're blind followers. And they're mostly have a negative impact on planet Earth. Now, that is because they lack proper leadership. Because they're being led by the devil. They're being led by the adversary of God. And what's the adversary of God? That's the synagogue of Satan. So we can tell you all the science behind why it is Oh well, let's take a look. Well, it's a genetic group in which all who belong to this genetic group are are at the most fifth cousins, and everyone together fourth and fifth cousins. So that's why when you watch these TV shows like Finding Your Roots, that the demon Larry David is cousins with the demon Bernie Sanders. It's because they're all cousins. They're all fourth and fifth cousins. That's like not much. And it's because it's such a small group. And so, I mean, we've already gone over this in detail, but I will say, when talking about Khazars in the 8th to 12th century, you see the bloodline of the people of God, according to the Bible. One of our ancestors, and I'm talking about the royal line, the ruling kings, those who, according to the Bible, are the rulers of earth. And that's really the choice that everyone has. It's the legitimate royal bloodlines that exhibited themselves in the royal houses of Europe between a couple thousand years before Christ, and were also the pharaonic line, the kings of Syria, the kings of Israel, the pharaohs, the high kings of Ireland. It's all the same line. Now, we have gone to war with this other line throughout history. And this other line are what everyone mischaracterizes and misdefines as the quote-unquote Jews. Now, we've shown you how they are not the Jews, how the book of Revelations is correct. They are the synagogue of Satan, those who say they are Jews but are not. And we've shown you DNA evidence. We've given you archaeological evidence to show they are not. So we have been at war with them. And during the time of the Kievan Rus, the descendants of the modern day Russians and modern day Ukrainians, we wiped out that Khazar Khaganate. And ever since then, and even before, they have had their plan to annihilate any individual from this bloodline that threatens them. So, and to enslave all those who do not. So, what I'm telling you is that America is enslaved, and the genetic people of God, according to the Bible, are enslaved to the synagogue of Satan. I'm not. But most everybody else is. But what we know is that these individuals have to be destroyed by any and all means, because they are imposters and they represent the adversary of God on planet Earth. How do I come to this conclusion? Let's look up psychological disorders, Jewish. And again, Jewish. They're not Jews, but they say they are. So that, and they control all the media and all that other stuff. So that's the way they are. That's the way they are going to be referred to when I'm attempting to find information. let's see. Violence. And and again, what do you guys have to see? Like, Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein, um, you know, all these guys that are doing like whacked out stuff. Um, it's it's uh it's 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 the Ashkenazim. Let's see. Let's see. Scientists discover gene that predisposes Ashkenazi Jews to. And it's going to start listing a bunch of mental disorders. Schizophrenia. Israeli and American scientists have discovered a gene among Ashkenazi that increases their chances of developing schizophrenia, as well as schizoaffective disorder and manic depression. So, what I'll say about that is, okay, here's some other related articles. DNA links prove Jews are a race. Yeah, that's true. All right, so here we go. That's it. I mean, they are predisposed, and they are they just they're messed up as a result of their DNA, and they are all related, all to be fourth and fifth cousins together. So it is a small group of individuals that have bad genetics and have gotten in control of the levers of power around the world and are, I would say the best word is, unleashing their psychopathy on the entire planet. All right. Let's see. We're talking about we're going to segue into the Kievan Rus and their wars with the Khazars, who are the male lines of the modern day Ashkenazi. All right, so I'm not finding it there, so we're going to get to something else. It is a little after 9 o'clock. This show is it is something. We have not really scratched the surface of any news of the day, but again, I'm not really interested in that anymore, except for how it applies to what I already know. We'll decode some stuff here pretty soon in the program, but I do want to get into how the Kievan Rus conquered the Khazars. Most historians agree that the title Kagan was borrowed by the Rus from the Khazars, but there is considerable dispute over the circumstance of this borrowing. Um, blah 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 blah. Um, all right, they're really switching up their information and changing it on the internet, or changing how to get to that particular information on the Google searches. But in any event, we're going to get to it anyways. So we'll add Yaroslav the Wise to that search. Okay, so we'll get into Yaroslav the Wise and the Kievan Rus versus the Khazars. All right, this is from the ancient.eu/Kievan Rus. All right. All right, Primary Chronicle and Early Kings. The Russian Primary Chronicle was probably completed in 1113 CE at Kiev and was once attributed to the monk Nestor, but is now thought to be a compilation of earlier works, possibly by Nestor. Okay. We're going to keep going here. Where is this? All right. Vladimir the Great and Yaroslav the Wise. All right. Man, they're really hiding this stuff. And I think that they might even be switching it certain parts out. All right. I'm going to have to go to another source. So anyway, while I'm looking up this, you can call in if you want, 646-668-2151. I really don't want to take any calls, but if we have to, we will. Okay. Kievan Rus, Khazars. Kievan Rus, Conquer. Maybe that's it. Conquer, Khazars. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna read from, this is the same site, ancient.eu. And let's see, getting to part where we talk about, okay, so we're gonna look here. Maybe we can increase the size of this picture. So this is the area we're talking about where the Khazars came from, right there. 11th century CE, Rus territory, where the finger is pointed. Right there. That's where these Khazars come from. That's where the male line of the modern day quote-unquote Ashkenazi comes from. Right there. So anything else that they're going to say about anything, they're absolutely they're full of it. That's why they're always around that area of the Ukraine, southeastern Poland, southern Russia. The work begins by claiming, and this is the work of Nestor. The earliest surviving manuscript dates from 1377 CE, with editorial notes substantiating the earlier date of the work. The chronicle is regularly alluded to as a historical narrative, but this has been challenged as it contains a number of mythic or legendary aspects. So, like, they always got to add that in, like, mythic or legendary. Okay. Even so, archaeological evidence from the region supports many, if not most, again. So if it's legendary and archaeological DNA and historical documentation supports many, if not most, of the events it describes, then there's something to it. So they always got to try to confuse people. The work begins by claiming that after the biblical great flood, the sons of Noah, Ham, Shem, and Japheth, divided the world between them, and Japheth received the region of Kievan Rus as part of his allotment. What Japheth did to establish order in his land is not mentioned, but the chronicle relates that the people fought with each other and eventually were subjugated by the Khazars of Central Asia and the Varangians, Vikings of Scandinavia. Okay, we're going to keep going. The Slavs of the region were forced to pay tribute to the Khazars and the Vikings until they drove the Vikings out, but maintained the relationship with the Khazars. However, they found they could not govern themselves, and the tribute paid to the Khazars was too great, even though they had been tired of paying the Varangians or Vikings. They recognized that life may have been better under their protection. So that's why the bloodline of the Rus and the bloodline of the Vikings is one and the same. And the similarities to the Slavs. They said to themselves, "Let us seek a prince who may rule over us and judge us according to the law." They accordingly went overseas to the Varangian Ruses. These particular Varangians were known as the Ruses, just as some are called Swedes and others Norman, English, Gotlanders, for they were thus named. The Slavic ambassadors arrived at the unspecified land of the Rus and invited them to come and rule their land as kings. 3 noble brothers accepted the invitation, and the chronicle continues. The oldest, Rorik, located himself at Novgorod. The second, Cineas, at Belozero. And the third, Truvor, at Izborsk. On account of these Varangians, the district of Novgorod became known as the land of the Rus. The present inhabitants of Novgorod are descended from the Varangian race, which is Vikings, but aforetime they were Slavs. Again, the same thing. Corroboration for Scandinavian settlements in these areas comes from physical evidence unearthed in archaeological digs in 750 CE. A settlement was established at Starja Laduga, apologies for the pronunciation, near the Volkhov River, the first Scandinavian village in this region. Okay, so we have the Slavs and the Russians becoming one. Now what's going to happen after that is they're going to go to war with the Khazars. and they're going to knock off the Khazars. And the Khazars didn't go anywhere, but they never forgot that, and they're now at war with the descendants of those who conquered them and who knew that they had mental problems and that they were the manifestation of the devil on earth. And I mean, there you have it. I mean, this is it. This is what what is going on planet Earth right now. You can't deny it. You can't refute it. You can't dispute it. They're in control of everything. All the levers of power. Let's look this up. Jewish usury. Jewish usury. All right, so let's see. Usury. So, when and why did the Christian church stop viewing usury? Capitalism is Jewish usury. All right. So this is from realcurrencies.wordpress. Capitalism is usury. Its defining belief is return on investment. This is an extension of the time value of money, which is the central tenet of modern economics. All right. Hey, I agree with that. So, let's see about edict expelling Jews for usury. Expelling Jews for usury because they've been kicked out of countless numbers of nations. So the most famous case is the Edict of Expulsion from England, 1290. That was Edward I. But we'll look at other instances throughout time. All right, where are we gonna go? Let's go past. Okay. Expulsion of Jews from England, 1290. This is the Edict of Expulsion. The first significant migration, obviously, William the Conqueror brought some Jews over from Normandy in 1066. By the late 1200s, there was a small Jewish population. Most of these Jews were moneylenders. So what they were doing was they were clipping coins, and they were sweating coins, and that's what they do in the modern day sense through monetizing debt. Through the monetizing of debt, this is the modern equivalent of not only just the Jewish usury, but of the Jewish coin sweating and coin clipping. So let's look up. Well, maybe they got it even in this article. No, I don't think so. All right, so let's look up Jewish coin clipping. Sweating. All right. We're going to get some stuff unless they took everything off. All Jews arrested in coin clipping scandal, 1278. So this is just something that we must do in order to stop the problem. It's what our ancestors have told us to do. And this is from Haaretz. So this is Jews talking about Jews. But again, they're not real Jews. This day in Jewish history, 1278, this happened November 17th, 1278. All Jews of England arrested in coin clipping scandal. It's about the synagogue of Satan, Beverly. I mean, I think you're part of it. It's about informing the public on how to deal with the manifestation of the adversary of God on planet Earth, and it's about what our ancestors did to neutralize the Christ killers. Some 680 Jews detained in Tower of London, with more than 300 subsequently executed on the fact that they were coin clipping. I'll paraphrase for everyone. All Jews were eventually expelled from Britain in 1290. What a great period of history. What great men were in charge then. My direct grandfathers, the Plantagenet kings. On November 17th, 1278, all the Jews of England were subjected to arrest and search of their homes for coin clipping and counterfeiting. Eventually, some 680 were imprisoned in the Tower of London, where it is believed that more than 300 were lawfully executed in 1279. At the time, the Jewish population of England is believed to have been 3,000. Here's some other. The most significant antecedent preceding the roundups and lawful executions of 1278 through 1279 was the Statute of Jewry imposed by the great King Edward I. That statute forbade Jews to deal in usury. Ostensibly, the measure allowed Jews to make a living by commerce in lawful merchandise and their labor, and to lease their land for farming for up to 15 years. But it prevented them from carrying out usury. Jews were also limited in where they could reside and were now required to wear a yellow badge identifying them as such. We don't need that. We can recognize them without any sort of badges. Coin clipping was a widespread practice carried out by Jews, and which led to a financial crisis in the kingdom. One contemporary chronicle estimated that overall, the practice reduced the currency's value by 1/2. So that's what they do today as well. That's what the enemy of humanity and all living things and God, that's what they do today. So we know the solution: expulsion and lawful execution for treason. And the reason is these. It's like what do you do with a rabid animal? Except for these folks are worse than rabid animals. These persons, these imposters, the synagogue of Satan, they're worse than rabid animals. Because I don't believe a rabid animal can be born rabid. So they were perfect as God made them, and the synagogue of Satan is perfect as God made them. They're the perfect adversary of anything good. So, I don't know. I don't know if I really have anything more to say. I think that this is about it for tonight's broadcast. Well, maybe we'll go through some current events now, just because why not? I mean, it's constantly what everybody's being bombarded with. Um, Maybe we'll talk about um, Andrew Windsor right now because he's back in the news, um, and we'll get into that a little bit. Here's some headlines. Prince Andrew stayed with billionaire accused of raping 10 women, some as young as 14. Well, that's not a woman then. Why would you say 10 women? Why that's a woman's not 14, that's a girl. Why are you trying to confuse people? That's the MIR, so they're trying to downplay this. So Prince Andrew is not a prince. We'll show you why. We'll get to that. Let's just see what the MIR has to say. Andrew Windsor. He's also an ethnic Jew. He definitely has not exclusive. He's not going to be like, you know, 90 or so percent Ashkenazi, but he's going to be a good 15 to 20% Ashkenazi, I would say. That's enough to that's enough for them to, you know, be placed into a usurper's role. Prince Andrew stayed with a billionaire who is accused of raping 10 girls. I'm paraphrasing. I'm correcting the incorrect information from the MIR when I say girls. Some as young as 14. Fashion magnate Peter Nygaard is the second of Andrew's associates to be accused of sex crimes, following his link to pedophile Jeffrey Epstein. The women have filed a civil lawsuit against Nygaard. The latest revelations of Andrew's links to a tycoon accused of a sex scandal will come as a major embarrassment to a beleaguered Buckingham Palace. He stayed at the Bahamas mansion of fashion mogul Nygaard, who is facing a civil lawsuit. Okay. Let's look up, see who Peter Nygaard is, because I don't know who he is. So we'll look this guy up. Learn about all these new child raping billionaires all the time. All right. All right. I think that this guy is Jewish as well. Yeah, I think he is. Okay, so this guy is also a Jew. And and he's in the clothing business. So this guy is another one of Andrew's Jewish associates, and he's that's the same routine as Epstein. This is really not shocking at all. This is just what these guys do. Just what they do. Let's see. Oh, wait a second. I could be wrong. Looks like this guy might be... Well, I don't know what he is. But this guy, Nygaard, is Canadian. Born in Helsinki, Finland. So, yeah, I guess maybe not Jewish. I don't know. Do they have Jews in Finland? I'm not sure. We'll look that up. Maybe that's a nice place to go if they don't. Jews in Finland. Yeah. We got silly commenters a lot of the time. They're just really silly. Very silly. Okay, yeah. Largely integrated into Finnish society, Jews enjoy a sense... Yeah, they do have Jews in Finland. History of Jews in Finland. Yep. Most of them live in Helsinki. Okay, alright. Well, yeah, then I'm guessing this guy... that's what's going on here. The country has approximately 1,500 Jews, mostly live in Helsinki. And so we're going to get into how the Windsors are Jewish. Because they have their big propaganda documentary coming out. They have their big documentary coming out this weekend about the Windsors and about how they are, I don't know, like decent human beings, except for that's completely false. They're the absolute among the absolute worst human beings on planet Earth. Alright, so we're trying to get on Facebook so I can verify this Netzel lady to block her. Or whatever Mossad agent is posing as this character on Facebook. And in the meantime, while I'm waiting for that to load up, let's see. Print. Let's see. All right. So here we go. And remember, we were talking about how Andrew Windsor is Jewish. Da, da, da. You, all right, don't be stupid, lady. I'm looking for you. I'm looking for you. Like you're gonna be part of the show. So I'm not stumbling through anything. taking things as they come, and I've done hundreds of shows, so I'm not worried about this. I do this for me, not for you. But hey, I see what you're doing, and I'm gonna see who you are. So keep the comments coming, Beverly Netzel. Keep them coming. Do please. Because it doesn't matter whether it's stumbled through or not. The information is essential. All right. Prince Albert was the illegitimate son of a Jew. All right. The real Albert was born into an unhappy marriage. Albert was born into an unhappy marriage. Louise, 16, when she married 33-year-old Ernst, the Duke of Saxe-Coburg-Gotha. Ernst was nonchalant about his numerous infidelities, leading Louise to seek respite with her own. However, it has only ever been confirmed that Louise had one affair with Baron Alexander von Hanstein, but many historians have insisted that it only began after. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, that's incorrect. All right. All right. This computer's freezing up. So this let's see. In text, Faust writes that Prince Albert, the quote-unquote prince consort, is to be described without contradiction as a half-Jew. So that would make the mother of the current usurping quote-unquote queen as as a as a as a quarter Jewish, 25%, and therefore at least the current queen is 12% Jewish. So that's like saying that one of your first cousins is Jewish. You share 12% of DNA, 12 to 15% of DNA with your first cousin. So there you go. That's where this bloodline comes in to Buckingham Palace. But it was tainted by the Rothschild bloodline even before that. So we will get into that a little bit more. And I haven't forgotten about that lady. She should probably do something. What was her name? Netzel. All right. So we're gonna get into this. Let's see. All right. Wow. I mean, they really switched. Did Prince Albert look Jewish? So did Prince Albert look Jewish? As has been repeatedly been claimed in support of these stories, the jury is out on that one. Some asserting in Albert's defense that he in fact had the same prominent Coburg nose that several members of the British royal family. That's Jewish too. Oh my gosh, these freaking guys. Louise's second husband, Alexander von Hanstein, that's Phil Albert's mother. The only solid evidence of blah blah blah. These are people trying to cut this information out. So we won't even bother with that. We will not even bother. All right, so we're gonna block her. Yeah, hey, thanks. I'm on her site right now. So yeah, let's do this right now so we can we can take a look and see what's going on with her. All right, this lady right here. Here we go. This is who's trolling the page right now. I don't know how she's finding this stuff, but there you go. Beverly J. Netzel. Not a smart move, Beverly J. Netzel. Yeah, definitely not an Anglo-Saxon. Definitely not an Anglo-Saxon. There you go. Synagogue of Satan member. So, bad job. Bad job, Beverly. But I'm going to block you too. So, you doubly lost. You lose twice, Beverly. More. Let's see. How do I block her? Oh yeah, block. Block. All right, yeah. Confirm I want to block. There you go. So we're doing this in real time. We're taking care of true business here, like good business. And let's get into coronavirus because I want to discuss the real serious nature of this, and I'm tired of folks going like, it's not real. It's not. Which part is not real? Every part of it is real. They're really quarantining people. Whether the virus is real, whether folks are really getting sick. Now, that's another question, but it is real. The U.S. military prepping for coronavirus pandemic. That's real. Here we go. Let's read from this. This is yahoo.com. U.S. military prepping for coronavirus pandemic. You know what that sounds like to me? Their U.S. military is creating pandemic or already are creating it. U.S. Northern Command is executing plans to prepare for a potential pandemic of the novel coronavirus, now called COVID-19, according to Navy and Marine Corps service-wide messages. An executive order issued by Joint Staff and approved by Defense Secretary Mark Esper this month directed Northern Command and geographic combatant commanders to initiate pandemic plans, which include ordering commanders to prepare for widespread outbreaks and confining service members with a history of travel to China. All right, now this is Agenda 21 stuff right here. Let's see. So we got that. So let's get into, if we can, hopefully. Get me out of this page, please. Wow. This thing's freezing up now. Alright, so we're going to have to look this up elsewhere. We're going to have to reload the whole computer. But there are quarantine centers now. There's 13 quarantine centers around the United States, and they're run by the military. The United States military is currently quarantining people as a result of the coronavirus. So if folks want to start talking about how this is fake, maybe it's fake, but I can tell you the quarantining is real. They're really doing that. Unless you show me evidence that they're faking it, I presume that that's right. This is going to be the pretext for what they're doing. This is going to be the pretext for them to start expanding quarantining, expanding martial law, expanding this continuity of government and continuity of operations, emergency plans. This is the textbook, this is the textbook scenario in which the United States military and the Department of Homeland Security and FEMA will carry out these plans to get Americans quarantined in FEMA camps. Because it's already happening. Now, if you deny that FEMA camps exist, FEMA camps, they happen often. So, if you deny this stuff, you're just denying what is verified and cannot be refuted in any sort of way. So, is it going to get worse? I hope it doesn't. But that's their plan. Their plan is to depopulate, to put everybody inside cages, and to further this destruction, this Agenda 21. If you go, what's their plan, Chris? You tell me, man. I don't know. I mean, Agenda 21, you read that and you tell me what the plan is. I know what they're saying their plan is. I see what they're doing. So, if you got a better idea, it's certainly not nothing, though. Well, I don't know what else there is to say this week. I think we're just going to close it out. Hopefully we'll have Cliff back on the show next week. Yeah, I mean, that's all. I'm keeping it real tonight. Cause I'm not gonna break my back for anyone. If folks wish to sift through this information, hey, you'll know what's going on more than anybody else who's not in on it. You know, if somebody's planning your destruction, and they're watching the show, yeah, maybe you know more what's going on than I do. But as far as the way things should be, and the way of the people of God, of the Bible, you don't know more than me. You don't. Nobody out there does. It's impossible. It's impossible. Because I was born. I have no choice. So, you know, when I'm referred to as the commander of the Virginia Militia, it's because I was born that way. I don't have a choice about it. It's one of my minor titles. It's one of the minor things I have just through being born with the blood that is flowing through my veins. So if I say I'm the Grand Master of all Freemasonry, it might not even be accurate, but it's not something I did. just like every one of you out there. It's not what you do. You don't really have a choice about anything. Like when you're born, when you come into this world, you're a creation of God. You don't have a choice about it. It's just what is. So the same goes with what I'm speaking of. I know what I'm saying. I know what I'm saying is accurate. There's absolutely no. Who the hell is JD? Who is Chuck Missler? I don't know. Like, I guess so. Chuck. I'm gonna be really, really annoyed if I have to, like. I'm just gonna look it up right now. That's what I'm looking up right now. I'm not even gonna repeat the guy's name. All right. He's got a Wikipedia page. Anyway, never heard of the guy before, but he has a Wikipedia page, so certainly he's a freaking demon. Oh, he's dead. Okay, well, still a demon. Let's see. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I don't like to get distracted like that. So in any event, like I was saying, I don't need to. Yeah. Oh, right on, right on. Um, I don't need to. Thanks. Um, I don't need or require. I don't need or require any sort of um, reassurance from the public. I don't need to hear the public's opinion. I could care less. And usually what is demonstrated is the fact that when the public says something negative about what it is that we're doing, they invariably turn out to be usually an ethnic Khazar or an ethnic Ashkenazi, and usually getting paid to troll this page. So we're gonna close. We got about a minute to go. Yep, I've been happy with this show. I want to try next week to get more into the specifics of the Irish, as Ireland as the cradle of civilization, and all lawful government authority around the world stemming from bloodlines of the High Kings of Ireland, and the Pharaonic line, and connecting the kings of the Bible, including the King of Kings, Jesus Christ, to the modern day bloodlines of England, Ireland, Scotland, Germany, France, and even the Kievan Rus, Romania, the Byzantine Empire, Sweden, and Norway, Finland, etc. So, yeah. So, yeah, we will get into money too, Cliff, and how it is horrible. Uh, Cliff's telling me about his Jewish landlady, or Ashkenazi, Southern, whatever European landlady, saying that it's his choice that he's not making enough money. Cliff, I think Cliff has 3 jobs. So yeah, it's his choice not to make enough money. That's absurd. So yeah, I mean, and that's the other thing. We'll end it with this. All millionaires and billionaires are guilty of treason, and anyone making more than say $85,000 a year, actually more. If they're individuals making more than $50,000 a year, you're in a lot of trouble, because you're taking advantage of this situation. But yeah, the top 1% of income earners or money stealers or usurers, everybody is engaged in usury when they make money. Um, so, and that's why I don't want money. I wish to have my land back. I don't want, you can keep the money. I'll take the land and I'll take the weapons of war. That's all I'm interested in. I'll take my land and my weapons of war. And I can tell you another thing, all these folks in Virginia going nuts about guns, 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 guns. And I'm packing. When I'm exercising my First Amendment right, I'm exercising my Second Amendment right too. But I can tell you, give me a drone, give me the weaponized drone fleet, and I'll give you the guns. They didn't assassinate Soleimani with a sniper. They assassinated him with a drone. So if you think that this stuff is related to guns, they're gonna send robotic kill machines after you. And so you know the key is we the people must control the weapons of war, and the issuance and valuation of currency. So that's it. That's where we're going to end it. At the most obvious point, nothing else matters but the Bank for International Settlements, which is the central bank of all the central banks of the world. Nothing else matters except for getting control of what the Bank for International Settlements does, put it back in the hands of the true royal noble authority, the true king, and then using that to gain control of the weapons of war, and use the weapons of war against our enemies. We'll see how it all shakes out. This is Chris Dorsey signing off. Peace and God bless.